Okay. Oh, the video's always so screwed up here. 3, 2, 1.
You are listening to the only show where a former police officer, alongside a current law school student, tackle politics, the legal system, and corruption. The show, known around the world as Qualified Immunity.
Ready?
Sure.
Ladies and gentlemen, tonight on your evening broadcast of Qualified Immunity, we were supposed to start a new series. And then something happened. Oh, do tell.
And now the nightly news.
Oh, God, here we go.
Sorry.
For anybody that can't, is listening strictly to the podcast and has not had the privilege of seeing his ridiculous 1980s porn stash on video, please go to Facebook or YouTube and look at the video, because it's horrendous.
I think I should keep it, like, in perpetuity, just like forever. Maybe groom it a little bit differently. No comment? No input at all?
Really bad. Come back to that. I mean, if I was a swing justice on Roe v. Wade and mustache was a baby, I can tell you why it passed.
Wow. Okay. Funny thing is, this look was, in when Roe v. Wade was decided.
There's a reason the 80s died.
I like the mustache.
You start creasing your jeans and...
Okay. Challenge
Do
accepted.
not start creasing your jeans.
Challenge accepted.
Wait, you're taller than I am. I was like, what size pants do you wear? Because I'm pretty sure I have some corduroy pants I'll give you. Wait, never mind. No, I don't. Not anymore.
Oh, no, you don't.
I had some.
Did those get caught?
Yeah.
No.
Pretty sure my wife's happy about that, too.
The people on YouTube love it.
Well, what?
The stash.
You read comments. I don't.
I spent like half of our episodes just looking at YouTube.
Is this why you're like the rabid squirrel? Like, Lucas. You're like the squirrel from Ice Age.
That's not a compliment.
It's not
No.
Cupid's bride.
I mean, I am pretty darn cute.
Next thing I tell you, he's the only one getting into heaven. Don't even go there. I can see the look in your face. Don't even go there.
Okay.
Kentucky grand jury. Louisville, Kentucky.
Yep. Indictment. But
Indictment my ass.
I know.
Indictment my ass.
That
you can indict a ham sandwich, and that's what they literally just did. That's
they only indicted one.
And it had nothing to do with the actual.
Yeah, it had nothing to do with Breonna Taylor.
Mm-mm.
Did you read what they actually indicted him for? They indicted him for shooting recklessly around the other apartments.
Yeah, no, like he
Wait,
basically.
yeah.
I don't remember how Kentucky phrases it, but it's gross endangerment.
Yeah.
Or gross negligence. Like, to say there was an indictment out of this is the most like, oh look, there's a silver lining of an indictment. There was no indictment. There is no justice. There is.
He was charged.
Ooh, I almost said a tagline there. I've never said it.
Yeah. He was charged with 3 counts of wanton endangerment for firing rounds during the raid.
Wanton endangerment. That's what it is. It's
I-
gross negligence.
I never hear the word wanton unless it's in a legal context. Like I hear it all the time in law school, but like that's just
I don't know
what
how you
anybody
go
else
through law. I don't know how you go through law school.
It's pretty miserable. I don't know either. Really.
See, we had this awesome podcast a couple of years ago, and somebody decided everything got packed up.
Sorry.
Then I got rebooted into this, and I'm not even sure what the hell this is.
Sorry.
Outside my dog photobombing every single episode
That's
we've
probably
ever done. Oh, so there was technically an indictment in the Breonna Taylor case today. Technically. And for all you morons out there, they're like, oh, they indicted somebody. Shut up. Just stop talking right now. Well, if you hang around the wrong people and you hang around the wrong crowd, that does not justify you getting murdered, you dumb stuff. I'm trying to lower my level of cursing.
Why?
Because my daughter is to the age.
Where she repeat? Yeah, she does.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And she doesn't ever repeat it right because Dad, I play yeehaw music. I was like, what? We want the radio playlist.
Yeah.
I don't need her running around like looking at some kid in daycare one day and be like, you stupid kid. I don't need like an episode of South Park in my daughter's daycare. That being said, I have a very limited vocabulary apparently.
I'm just imagining her like voicing characters on South Park.
Mm-hmm.
It works.
It really does. It's creepy. So yes, there was technically an indictment in the Breonna that stemmed from the shooting and murder of Breonna Taylor. However, that being said, there's no real indictment because he's gonna get off.
Yeah, that's the thing. We're not actually talking about a conviction. We're talking about
An indictment. You can indict a ham sandwich.
it's just a charging decision.
You can indict a ham. This is what he's gonna get. He's gonna get like 5 years deferred. You know, pay a fine because he's not a cop anymore. He's the one that got fired.
Yeah.
Or I don't think he actually got fired.
Well, and the other two that were being considered for indictment, they didn't get anything. They're off.
Here's the actual problem with the entire thing, and this is I've said this before and I'll say it again. There is a massive difference between legality and morality.
Mm-hmm.
Legally speaking, somebody in the apartment fired first. I'm just saying, and you know how pissed I am about Breonna Taylor.
Yeah.
Like, there is nothing more clear cut that there should be at least manslaughter charges filed that I've ever seen in my entire life. Like the Breonna Taylor case, and I might piss some people off by saying this. Breonna Taylor's case is more clear and more evident than George Floyd.
Mm-hmm.
They were asleep in the middle. Well, and all you fucking boomers and morons out there. Okay, here it goes. Y'all would look up and be like, well, she hung around the wrong people, and you've never hung around the right person in your entire life? Or, you've hung around all right people in your entire life? I doubt it. Did you run a triple I on every single one of them? No, because you morons don't even know what that is. And I see morons in a loving term. Because at some point, you have to understand, at least anybody with an IQ above room temperature has to comprehend that you do not murder people because they have bad friends. Otherwise, Lucas would have been shot like 3 years ago. Seriously, how many people hated me in politics?
All of them.
All of them. I don't know how I won what I won. Because they all hated me. Granted, they hated me because they hated the idea of logic.
Well, they hated the idea of losing, and that's what happens when you argue with somebody that actually uses logic.
I remember city council meetings just getting glared at by people. I'm like, glaring, bitch, I'm not going anywhere.
Good times.
It was good. You were there too, like watching people glare at me. Do you remember every single city council meeting that there was some legal question? Everybody all of a sudden like, hmm? I'm like, do I look like a lawyer to you? Oh my god.
Fun times. I remember those. Those were great.
Oh,
We should do that again.
no, we should not. Somebody floated the idea of me running for something 48 hours ago, and I was like, no.
What was it? What you gonna run for?
I'm not. Dude, I can't even get a COVID test back right now to vote for me.
That's funny.
Like, gotten 3 indecisives.
What was it? What did they ask you to run for?
Why do you care?
I really want to know.
Some.
Was it Attorney General?
No.
Oh, okay. Was it District Attorney?
No.
You just gonna run through the list.
That's 2. You should get the third. Get it on the third one.
Stay right.
Ugh, Christ, no. Have you seen this show? I'm not running for state rep. I'm not running for. They're gonna be like, he said this in minute 13 and 30 seconds. He said this, and it,
They didn't recommend that you run for judge.
I can't. I'm not a lawyer. County commissioner.
But you should do that.
Yeah, I should not say again.
Why? There's money there.
I don't care about the money.
Okay.
I can make more of an impact doing this than I can being a county commissioner.
Just run for county commissioner and don't do anything and just do this on the side, like actually full time, and then do such a poor job of being county commissioner.
Then I get unelected.
Yeah. There you go.
You know me better than that, though. I couldn't do that.
I know.
I can't do a job and be like, I'm just gonna suck at this job. That's why I hate the fact my daughter got me. Like, we shouldn't get into it yet, but I made the mistake of buying my daughter a robe. What?
Your stomach's making a lot of noises over
Dude, that's why you don't eat freaking Baby Shark mac and cheese. It gets down to your stomach. It's like, do, 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 do. Oh, there's never gonna be just. The stupid part about it is there's been at least 2 confirmed shootings. I don't know if they died, but there's been 2 confirmed shootings of police officers.
there.
And riots tonight. I say riots.
Protests,
Well,
riots.
dude, at the point, I really want to call it engagements.
Yeah.
Am I wrong?
No. Well, that implies combatants.
Am I wrong? No, because he can vote. From a legal threshold, you're at the point of combatants. I know.
Yeah, but I'm not gonna call that.
I know the slippery slope that it runs down because at that point you invoke NDAA, you invoke the Patriot Act, you invoke basically the entire idea of ever having rights to begin with.
Which of course is a terrible idea. This is going to sound terrible. The best way Republicans can actually win this election is just let it all happen.
Mhm.
Because people will associate the riots with the left.
The dumb part is, I don't worry about this election. I worry about November 5th.
Saying, I don't care who wins the presidency because it never is the person that I
Actually, I voted for him winning it. No, I've never voted for somebody that's actually won the White House. Because I voted for McCain, and then I voted for Romney, and then Johnson, and this time it'll be Joe. JoJo. Hashtag Joe, no Joe.
Yeah, I haven't either. Interesting.
I don't think. Oh my god, it started again.
Don't. Just don't. Son, just don't.
It's. I'm telling you, it's got to be the hum from something. Like, it's got to be the hum that puts me to sleep. I don't know. I was trying to think. What's the highest office I've ever voted for? One.
Governor. Senator? Senator, probably.
You classify higher. High. I can read the 10th Amendment. I think governor's higher than senator.
I would agree with you. But that's
It's the highest you've ever voted for in a primary that won.
won the primary.
No, it ended up winning primary then general.
Like I voted for them in the primary, and they ended up winning everything.
Yeah.
Well, that automatically restricts it down to Republicans.
Yeah, but it's like my highest was lieutenant governor.
I'm trying to think, actually.
Who'd you vote for? Okay, this is a bad question. Who'd you vote for in the primary for lieutenant governor in 16?
Who was running?
Or
in
18?
Or
Dana and Matt.
I don't know. I'm guessing I voted for Dana, but I don't know. It's possible I didn't vote on that one.
I was like, because that was the last one. Because I know I didn't vote for Stitt.
I don't know. I don't know who I voted for in that race.
Oh.
I can tell you for governor.
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
We voted for the same person.
Yeah. I don't know who was running for that.
It was like, because I voted for Matt, primary runoff general.
Probably superintendent, actually. Because in 2014, everybody wanted her gone.
I forget your disdain for certain people.
That was the first and only time I think I've ever seen an incumbent take third place in a three-way race.
Which I don't know why.
I kind of do.
You have to explain it to me later. I really don't understand that race. That's like the anomaly in my head in Oklahoma politics.
Well, I'll explain it to you sometime.
I'm trying not to just ever let me lose my shit tonight because I want to really, really, really badly, but I'm gonna wake up everybody on the floor.
Oh yeah. Well, that's not good. But do it.
Do you think it helps our ratings or something?
Probably.
It probably actually does.
There's one way to find out.
No, I watch these metrics every single day. It's pretty factual. I'm just thinking at this point of like, if you allow Breonna Taylor to happen, just like if you allow Jeffrey Epstein to happen, and you want to say he committed suicide, you're okay with cold-blooded murder.
Well, and
I think there is, and I'm gonna say this, I'm gonna piss some people off saying this. There is some underlying racism in the Breonna Taylor thing. If you're okay if somebody gets murdered if they don't look like you.
Yeah.
That I think there's one of my biggest problems with the Breonna Taylor thing is it's like if that was a white girl that happened to
oh yeah.
on a wealthy side of town, holy shit, y'all would be burning down City Hall trying to say
No, they wouldn't be because these guys would be in jail.
oh yeah, you're right. They're gonna be locked up. But say it had gone the same length of time and nobody had been indicted. Like how fast did George Floyd?
Well, white people don't burn stuff down because they actually get justice.
You're not wrong. As bad as I want to say you're wrong and be like, no, it's fair and equal it's equal in the eyes of the law. There's nothing equal in the eyes of the law.
Well, and the part that bothers me about this is the grand jury indicted that one guy for basically nothing and didn't indict the other two. What did they think was going to happen tonight? Like, did they not think 6 to 12 hours into the future? Like, oh, hey, people are probably going to be mad about this.
I mean, they did. Like, that's the thing. They did. That's what the Louisville mayor declared a state of emergency. Like, at a 9 p.m. curfew.
People are still dying.
this. I don't want to say this. Because once this is said, it changes the paradigm of everything we talk about. But I think at this point, it's evidently clear to say this. This is a war whether you realize it or not. Your Civil War 2.0 started 6 months ago. And there's no good guy, there's no bad guy, there's no good side, there's no bad side. There is getting through it alive with an ounce or speck of American freedom left to where we can still walk into Walmart without a mask on or somebody up our ass about 6 feet away from each other. And this started, okay, I say 6 months ago. I lied. It's September. This started 8 months ago. 7 to 8 months ago. This actually started on March 13th. Ironically, you know what else happened on March 13th? Breonna Taylor got murdered. And I understand everybody wants to have their own opinions on COVID and their own opinions on this, their own opinions on that. I will say something about COVID that I personally believe will get backed up by statistics. It's not 1/100th of the danger that everybody was led on to believe it is, and it gave up our liberties, our civil liberties, and our freedom for it. It got played. Everybody got played because it is nothing to what we were told it was. Otherwise, guess what? I wouldn't be sitting here right now. I was around somebody that supposedly had COVID last week. They're perfectly fine and healthy. They're still perfectly fine and healthy. We're still doing the show.
Yeah.
Am I any different than I was a week ago? I'm not saying COVID-19 does not exist. And don't anybody ever say that, you said it didn't exist. That's not what I'm saying at all. I'm saying it got blown way out of proportion and has covered up a bunch of other stuff, like Breonna Taylor. And if you're over there cheering the fact that Breonna Taylor was unarmed and shot and killed, you are a fucking fascist on a good day and just a shit human being on a bad one. If she had a gun in her hand, I get it. If it was at 2 in the afternoon or 3 in the afternoon, not 3 in the morning, I get it. If they looked like police officers, I get it. You don't have a rock to stand on with the Breonna Taylor thing. Oh, and in case I didn't say this today, fuck you, Ben Shapiro, because your article is nothing but a hit piece and trash. And I can talk fast, and I can make things sound real cool, and I can stop, and I can do awesome pauses too. You stupid fuck, slow down and make an argument. Quit cutting people off, because you're not as smart as you think you are. You are running on nothing but over-talking people and smashing them down with strawman arguments, and I'm sick of it. When it comes to economic theory or it comes to politics, fine. Somebody's dead and in the ground, and you want to run some political bullshit hit piece on her? Fuck you, Ben Shapiro. Oh, you didn't see it, did you?
Mm-hmm.
The 7 unknown facts about Breonna Taylor. It all comes down to this: she hung around the wrong people, and because she hung around the wrong people, police all of a sudden this is why this happens. And then police think that look, they found 0 narcotics in her apartment. They were looking for somebody who did not live there, that was an acquaintance, that they had no proof had been there in at least 60 days, if not 90 or 120. They had the postmaster look into their theory. The postmaster said multiple times, no, that's not happening. They kicked the door in anyway. They got shot at. They shot back, and they killed somebody out in fucking cold blood. And all you want to do is politicize the shit out of this, where, oh, well, you're the Black Lives Matter, you're back the blue. No. You're right or wrong. What happened to Breonna Taylor was wrong. And I don't give a shit what side you're on. You can't back that up. Outside of, you run back to, well, they thought she had done this. Did she have she can get fired from being an EMT because she was stealing drugs off the bus. I've heard that floated a million times now, and I've never seen proof of it. Like, I've said this before. I will take anybody on, including Ben Shapiro. But you're going to get real pissed off when I don't let you cut me off because I can overtalk and I can talk faster than you too. I used to like the guy when he would actually debate things. The funny part was, Milo would debate people on logic, but Shapiro stuck around because people don't like logic. Shapiro uses nothing but strongman arguments and literally put out one of the greatest. Like, Breonna Taylor's family should sue the shit off of you for slander. Like, what the Daily Wire posted about 7 unknown facts about Breonna Taylor was such absolute bullshit of a hit piece. Like, I hope you get sued. Vox, before everybody says, oh, well, there he goes, picking the West Side, I hope Vox gets the shit, and the Atlantic both get the shit sued out of them by Donald Trump. Because they just make stuff up out of thin air. You cannot consciously sit here and defend what happened at Breonna Taylor's residence because the only thing you fall back on is, well, she hung around with the wrong people. That's what happens. No, you do not have the justification for homicide, for cold-blooded murder, when somebody is honestly believing they're in fear of their life. They think somebody's breaking in their house at 3 o'clock in the morning, and they go to fire. They fired a warning round. And granted, I don't agree with warning rounds. They fired a warning round, and you lit their entire house up with lead. Who is the aggressor in this? Well, we announced ourselves. Bullshit. I don't believe you announced yourself for 1 minute. If you're going to announce yourself, you don't get a no-knock warrant, and you don't do it at 3 in the morning. Sorry, not sorry. Well, you don't know that. You've never lived in their shoes. I was a cop for a decade. I filled out the same warrant paperwork they did. I've taken it to judges and had them sign it. I've knocked on a judge's door at 3 in the morning to get him to sign one. And that was on a search warrant for a car. When we're talking about felony no-knocks, God, I do not comprehend in 1 ounce of my being how anybody can defend the Breonna Taylor situation. I don't understand it. I can't comprehend it. And all you're doing is pandering to a side when you do it. You have Republican senators trying to get past legislation to ensure that Breonna Taylor and things like that don't happen again. The Justice for Breonna Taylor Act was introduced by a Republican. Granted, it's a Republican from Kentucky, too. And the right ones are, well, the protesters messed with him and his wife. You're pandering. You're fucking pandering. And it's annoying. I'm done. What?
Stick a fork in
I.
You're done.
My son tried that earlier. It would make it. Like, do I make sense when I say these things?
Oh yeah. That's why I don't say anything.
I mean, I feel like
There's nothing for me to argue with.
Like, I feel like people are out there, well, that doesn't make any sense. I don't know how more clear I can be, Karen. Maybe you should go get your fake Walther and come out and defend your front yard. You're in the middle of the Civil War. This is it. All you doomsday preppers out there, go get in your bunker. Because this shit started March 13th. Mark my words. Here's the real question. Do you want freedom or do you want oppression? And freedom is dangerous. freedom will always be dangerous? Or do you want somebody telling you what to do and how to do it every step of the week, all the time, for no reason other than, well, we're the government, we're here to help? It's bullshit. Grow up, be an American, and fight for your freedom. To not have your door kicked in at 3 in the morning by people who look like plain people wearing normal clothes, and then the justice system doesn't do shit about it when they murder you. Unfreaking believable. I remember when America stood for something. It was about 50 years before I was born. Since 1913, we have done nothing like actually, I will even go back a little bit farther than that. Since 1861, 1865, and then in 1913, it just started this downhill spiral of, well, it's for your own good, it's for your own good, it's for your own good. You keep making laws and then expecting people to go enforce them without the actual comprehension that it is all predicated on those enforcers being willing to commit violence to enforce your stupidity. You know how I know? I was one of them. The Breonna Taylor case is nothing but a microcosmic shot of what happens in America on a daily basis. It is poor versus rich that is going to go on and go on and go on, and they will oppress the rich will oppress the poor continuously. And before somebody comes at me with your socialist argument, that's not going to work either, because then you de facto made a bourgeoisie, and a bourgeoisie will tell you to eat cake. And if you do not understand that reference, you do not need to be walking out there saying you're a socialist. This is rich versus poor. This is elitist versus normal people. This is people who wear Oxfords that cost more than my last house did, against guys who wear cowboy boots, and kids in the inner cities that just want that pair of Jordans. That's what it is. They could smoke money, they've got enough of it. They've never been broke. They've never been homeless. They've never had to wonder where the next meal was coming from, the next this and the next that and the next this. And they've never opened a pantry to empty. I have. They will keep putting their boot on your neck and their knee in your neck, proverbially and literally, if you live in Minneapolis, until you say, fuck this, it's enough, we're done. How much do you pay in taxes? You don't know. You really honestly don't know. Because if you rent, you don't understand that part of your rent goes to your landlord's property tax. You don't understand that sales tax are a thing, income tax is a thing, Social Security is a thing. You pay between 41 and 55% of your total income to the government so they can tell you what to fucking do with your life. And when you don't agree with that, or you hang around with somebody that doesn't agree with that, they kick your door in at 3 in the morning dressed like normal people, and when you go to attempt to defend your home and your property and your fucking castle, they light you up and they kill your girlfriend. And then they charge you for shooting at the police when you didn't know that you were shooting at them. We live in a world of doublespeak and double standards, from the Supreme Court to the streets of Louisville. And it's time there's a line drawn in the sand. So, I have never said this before. I will lose friends for saying this. But when it comes to Louisville, no justice, no peace. Don't stop until they're held accountable for their lies and their bullshit and their actions that led to the death of somebody who was just trying, who's actually led to the death of somebody who was just standing in a hallway thinking her home was getting broken into. And people can argue the semantics of, oh, their leaders are Marxist all day long. Have at it. I don't care. I care about what happened March 13th. I don't care about what leadership's saying today, because leadership is full of bullshit and ideologues, just like Republican leadership is, just like Democrat leadership is, just like the president and most of Congress is. It's nothing but bullshit ideologues that will never get a damn thing done. I care about what happened March 13th, 2020 in Breonna Taylor's apartment in the middle of the night. That's what I care about. I want to know who lied, when they lied, how they lied. I want to know all of it. I want it drug out, strung out, and thrown in the fucking front page of the paper, on Fox News, on CNN, on MSNBC. I want it everywhere. I want to see who lied. I want to see them on stand. I want to see their trial. I want to see them try and justify what the fuck happened that night. Because there's a dead girl out there, and there were no drugs taken out. The person they were looking for wasn't there. It was just an acquaintance. And oh yeah, by the way, the last known sighting of that was 60 to 90 days before they kicked the door in. You don't have a leg to stand on. Yeah. She was just a helper. And her boyfriend was a piece of shit. Her boyfriend managed to legally buy a firearm, which means he wasn't a convicted felon. Her boyfriend managed to legally have it registered, which means he wasn't a convicted felon. Her boyfriend also legally had a right to carry the firearm.
Those two officers that were shot,
Yeah.
non-life-threatening injuries.
Lyndon's president. Probably took him the best.
One was in surgery at the time of this written. The other one was stable, alert, fine.
Meanwhile, they'll get a medal. You know what Breonna Taylor gets? Nothing.
You want a good laugh?
Sure.
Quote, I'm very concerned about the safety of our officers, said Schroeder, who is the Louisville Metro Police Chief.
Yeah.
Robert Schroeder. I'm very concerned about the safety of our officers. Obviously, we've had 2 officers shot tonight. It is a very serious and dangerous condition. I think the safety of our officers and the community we serve are of utmost importance.
Hey Schroeder, get fucked.
It's so darn.
Is that clear enough?
The safety of our community is so darn important. We got to shoot them.
The safety of our community is so important that we murdered them. Hey Schroeder, get fucked. Is that clear enough yet?
And then this article continues to talk about the protests, and it's really not. This is Fox News, so I kind of expected this to be slanted.
I was about to say, let me guess, it's Fox News.
The way they're describing the protests and the police reaction and the National Guard reaction, it doesn't actually sound like the protests were violent before the police reacted.
No shit.
And this is Fox News. They should be favoring the police. I'm not really. The police are breaking up. The police are violating people's First Amendment rights.
Let me guess, it's an unlawful.
Yeah, quote, unlawful. This article says, hours after the announcement, police ordered the crowd downtown Louisville and dispersed and declared gathering to be unlawful. Quote.
An unlawful assembly.
And then they threaten to use chemical agents and make arrests if people didn't leave.
And 2 people got shot. How'd that work out for you, dumbasses? I'm too pissed off to talk about this. Ladies and gentlemen, there's my opinion.
Oh, the National Guard has been called out. In case we didn't say that already.
Oh yeah. Which that's a good idea. In case you missed my last opinion on National Guard and protest, you think the police aren't trained and equipped to handle this? The National Guard, it goes through Army boot camp. Army National Guard goes through Army boot camp. They know how to shoot and not shoot. That's about it. So, for everybody, oh, send the National Guard in! We're going to kick their ass! No, you're not. You're going to spark an actual hot war.
And there's a curfew in place.
Curfews are unconstitutional. Curfews are morally reprehensible. You live in a free country. Curfews are morally reprehensible. Let's just forget even if it's ever said unconstitutional. Because people use that word, like people use that term just like they use conservative, just like they use a condom. They use it every once in a while and throw it away when they're done with it. So, let's just start with curfews are morally reprehensible if you live in a free country. Questions? Am I wrong? Am I out of line by saying this?
Well, if you remember, Oklahoma City had a curfew for a little while, and they said it was going to be like 72 hours, and like 12 hours later, they're like, we're just gonna not
Yeah,
do
we're just
that.
gonna get rid of this because. Sorry.
I think somebody threatened to sue him.
That who it was. Oh, I thought I could tell you who it was. Curfews are morally reprehensible when you live in what is supposedly a free country. Lord.
I'm really surprised. This article is from Fox, and it's actually it treats the story pretty fairly.
It's because they're fair and balanced.
You mean fair and balanced?
You have anything else to put on this?
No, I don't think so.
Tell people where they can find you on social.
On the Twitter, at the Luke's going.
I'm on everything else. Like,
I love how it's like 5 seconds.
yeah, it's like Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat, TikTok. I'm missing a couple. LinkedIn, YouTube. I'm on everything. At Greg J. Ingle. Jerry GJ INGLE. Qualified Immunity Podcast. It's also on Facebook. It's on YouTube. Go like the page. It's also on every single platform out there that distributes podcasts. We're on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, Anchor, Overcast. We're Podbean. We're on everything. So, like, subscribe, and leave a review. We can only go as far as you let us go, and I hope you let us keep doing this far into the future. With that being said, screw up your tagline.
Vote bold, vote gold, should do 2020.
Live today, love tomorrow, and unite forever. Till Valhalla, guys. Bye. Wave bye.
Bye.
God